Hello everyone, welcome back to Newsroom. I'm Chella Smith. This is your Middle East U.S. entertainment news here on YouTube. I air on Fridays. I bring you the latest on reforms and economics in Iraq based on reports put out by the Middle East news media outlets. I do this weekly review and it's based off my interest. Make sure you're subscribed and turn those notification bells on so when I'm live or when I have an early release show, you're in the know. And don't forget to smash the like button so others like yourself can find us. Last week we spoke about the S&P forecast, salaries, curfews, and protesting regarding the Iraqi elections. And we also spoke about Turkey had halted oil export flows through Iraq. As I summarize through these articles, let's take a look at this week's headlines. The exciting news for the week is the Assistant U.S. Treasury visits Iraq and urges Iraq's central bank to tackle risks from the dollar misuse in Iraqi banks to avoid potential sanctions. This is due to fraud and money laundering concerns. The U.S. previously blocked 14 Iraqi banks from dollar transactions. The Treasury officials highlighted ongoing risk in Iraqi banks, such as money laundering and fraud. In July, the U.S. took action based on evidence of illegal financial activities, blocking 14 Iraqi banks from conducting dollar transactions. The officials emphasized that these issues must be addressed to avoid new punitive measures. Iraq, with over 100 billion reserves in the U.S., heavily depends on Washington's goodwill to secure its oil revenues and funds from sanctions. This could affect Iraq's international credibility, potentially hindering efforts to boost international investments and modernize the banking sector. Indeed, it's quite a complex situation. I believe we will see some more changes, starting with new laws refined to improve the business environment and push for banking sector modernization. What do I expect from here is foster transparency, strengthened anti-money laundering measures, and encourage foreign investments. The success of these changes could hinge on political stability and international support. I'm hearing key dates of the 19th for Iraq and Iran to settle differences. Iraq has put some agreements out there, and we're waiting on these from Iran. And today, the U.S. State Department had a lot to say as they welcomed the ongoing talks between the Kyrgyzstan and the federal government on salaries and budgets, urging constitutional resolution. Barzani was reassured and promised good news soon. 7 highlights that I took from all the buzzing going around in the media. 1, the U.S. supports ongoing talks between the Kyrgyzstan regional government and the federal government. 2, talks focused on salaries and employees in the Kyrgyzstan budget shares. 3, the U.S. urges problem solved based on constitution. 4, delegations visited Baghdad to discuss these issues. 5, delegations included permanent officials. 6, 2 proposals put forward for financial dues. And 7, Barzani's promised good news very soon. Lots of great things going on in Iraq. A former member of the Kyrgyzstan parliament, Ali Saleh, said today that the Federal Council of Ministers is scheduled to ratify a draft decision to fund the salaries of employees and workers in the public sector in the region for the last 6 months of the current year. Federal Council is said to ratify funding for the Kyrgyzstan public sector salaries. If approved, 800 billion dinars sent monthly. The surplus is expected for the Kyrgyzstans. The vote is scheduled for next Sunday. We're seeing the scene unfold. If approved, the Kyrgyzstans will receive 400,000 barrels of oil from Iraq in November. It's quite a seat in Iraq. Extra funds and oil can boost infrastructure, service, and overall economy. We'd like to thank Search for Dinar. Maozi News reports Baghdad Supreme Committee for Reconstruction and Investment discussed Thursday a number of projects during its second session, which was chaired by Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani. Prime Minister al-Sudani chaired a meeting on strategic projects. They discussed Highway Number 2 financing and implementation. The plan is prepared a study for a new road connecting Samira, Baghdad, Mahmud, Kerbala, and Najaf. They're aiming to start this project by next year. The project budget is still under decision. They're also planning to include services, areas, and gas stations. Everyone traveling between these cities will benefit. Shafak News has reported the Turkish Ministry of Energy announced today that the inspections of oil pipeline from the Kyrgyzstan region to the port of Ceyhan has been completed, stressing that the line would technically be ready for operation soon. The pipeline from the Kyrgyzstan to Ceyhan is ready after inspection, resuming oil flow soon. Exact dates was unknown. An independent survey company inspected the pipeline and is preparing the report. Maintenance work was done too. Restarting oil flow will likely boost Iraq's economy. They had to complete an inspection and maintenance on the pipeline before resuming operations. No exact date was given, but they mentioned it'll be technically ready for operation soon. Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani is scheduled to participate in the annual meeting of the United Nations General Assembly next week. Prime Minister al-Sudani will represent Iraq at the UN General Assembly next week, not President Rashid. The article doesn't specify why, but al-Sudani will deliver Iraq's speech at the event. The specific topics of the speech were not mentioned, but it's usually about national and global issues. The United Nations General Assembly meeting is to be held on Monday, September 18th, 2023, and will be held at the organized headquarters in New York City, and Sudani will deliver Iraq's speech there. Here on YouTube, Newsroom Chella Smith will keep you updated. The main focus of this week's news was the Central Bank of Iraq and the U.S. Treasury. They're working together to increase transparency and combat money laundering. Rosensberg's visit focused on the banking reforms and combating money laundering. This could monetize Iraq's banking sector, supporting international investments. The focus remains on banking reforms, fighting money laundering, and boosting international investment in Iraq. Iraq plans to build a development road, becoming a global transit point, linking markets and inviting factory setups. Could boost Iraq's economy. Iraq's development road project aims to transform it into a global transit hub, potentially revitalizing its economy. Prime Minister al-Sudani confirmed progress in the banking reforms, reducing corruption and money laundering. U.S. Treasury Rosenberg praised these steps. Things that we are focusing on in our community here with Newsroom is that 1, the progress in the banking reforms, 2, reduction in corruption and money laundering, and 3, the U.S. Treasury is praising Iraq for these steps. And you've been watching Newsroom Weekly Review. I'm Chella Smith with your Middle East to U.S. entertainment news on reforms and economics of Iraq. I bring you the latest Dinar news without having to keep up with all the different outlets. I'm here on YouTube every Friday, so don't forget to subscribe and turn those notification bells on so when I'm live or when I have an early release show, you're in the know. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up. If you really like my content, you can always seed a super chat or a super comment in the section below. Again, thank you for being a subscriber, and thank you for visiting Newsroom Chella Smith for your trusted Dinar news. I'll see you guys next week. Make sure you join us Fridays, 4 p.m. with Newsroom updates with Chella Smith Entertainment News.